Thank you very much. It's great to have you at Camp David, a very special place. We started, as you know, yesterday afternoon. We had a couple of incredible meetings. It's a feeling here that you don't have in very many places. There was a bonding. There was got a lot of work done, a lot of great work for the people. Security discussed, infrastructure discussed, military and all types of military situations and applications discussed. General Mattis is here, General Kelly. A lot of good military input, very important. Discussed funding for the military, which is so important. We also obviously went into budget, so we went into DACA and how we're going to do, and we hope that we're going to be able to work out an arrangement with the Democrats. I think it's something that they'd like to see happen. It's something certainly that I'd like to see happen. So we are very well prepared for the coming year. We finished very strong. One of the things we are discussing very powerfully is drugs pouring into this country and how to stop it, because it's at a point over the last number of years, it's never been like this. We've never had a problem with drugs like we did, whether it's opioid or drugs in the traditional sense. It's never been like it is. And we are going to do everything we can. It's a very difficult situation, difficult for many countries, not so difficult for some, believe it or not. They take it very seriously, and they're very harsh. And those are the ones that have much less difficulty. But we are going to be working on that very, very hard this year, and I think we're going to make a big dent into the drug problem. With that, I think what I'll do is ask Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to say a few words, and I'll have Paul Ryan, and we'll perhaps you'll have some questions for some of the folks. We have a great group of talent, and I will tell you the meetings, again, were really perhaps transformative in certain ways. We're doing things, and we have things planned for next year. One of the things Mitch said, and he said it very well, was it's going to be tough to beat the year we just left, because what we had last year was something very special, especially to cap it off with the tremendous tax cuts and tax reform. And don't forget Anwar, and don't forget the fact that the individual mandate, such a horrible thing for so many people, was terminated. So it's very, very tough. But I'd like to ask Mitch come up, say a few words, please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. As you suggest, last year would be a tough year to top. If you are like those of us here at the podium, you'd like to see America be a right-of-center country. From a right-of-center point of view, 2017 was the most consequential year in the many years that I've been here in Congress. The President's spectacular nominee for the Supreme Court, 12 circuit judges, the most in the first year of any president since the circuit court system was set up in 1891, not to mention deregulation, and then topping it off with the most consequential boost to our economy through this tax reform bill was an astonishing year. But it's time to look forward. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for inviting us all up. We had a great planning session for 2018. We hope that 2018 will be a year of more bipartisan cooperation. The President's agenda, much of which he just referred to, are things that we believe there'll be a significant number of Democrats interested in helping us accomplish. And so, Mr. President, thanks for the opportunity to be here. We're excited about the new year and ready to get to work. Thank you.
Well, too, Mr. President, I want to thank you for inviting us here to Camp David. I'm particularly pleased with the fact that we had an extremely productive conversation with the President and his team yesterday about how we go forward in 2018. We have big things to do for the American people. We're excited about getting to work on that. And as both the President and the leader said, we had historic achievements in 2017 that we want to build on. historic achievements that we believe will get our economy growing much faster. And what we want to work on in 2018 is making sure that everyone enjoys the economic growth that's to come. We have people who are sidelined in society that need to get out of poverty and into the workforce. So we want to focus on making sure that we can close that skills gap, that opportunity gap, so that everyone can get the kind of life and the career that they can get in this country, that tap their potential. We've got issues such as infrastructure that we want to attend to. We want to make sure that Secretary Mattis and our military have the tools and the resources that they need to keep us safe. So we have a very bold agenda for 2018. We think this agenda is one that will appeal to everyone in between Democrats and Republicans, independents. And so we're excited about the progress that's already been made, and we're very excited about what we have in store for us for 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. President. 2017 was a year of extraordinary accomplishment. And the congressional leaders who are gathered here were incredible partners with this president and our entire administration in advancing the interests of the American people, rebuilding our military, supporting law enforcement, historic regulatory reform, appointments to our courts to uphold the rule of law and the Constitution, from the Supreme Court to courts at every level, and of course historic tax reform, repealing the Obamacare mandate and opening up American energy from Alaska to around the globe. The President's policies have been achieving extraordinary results. Nearly 2 million new jobs created, unemployment at a 17-year low. Our economy is already growing at a pace that most economists didn't predict would happen for years, 3%, and we're looking to exciting predictions for 2018. But as the President said at the close of 2017, we're just getting started. The President convened the congressional leadership gathered here with members of our cabinet to outline the President's priorities for the coming year. Those include a budget agreement, an investment in our military to truly rebuild and make the strongest military in the world even stronger still. Immigration reform and enforcement, the construction of a wall and border security, as well as dealing, as the President just said, with the issue of DACA. We truly do believe that there are opportunities after our discussions this weekend for bipartisan work on a broad range of issues, from infrastructure to workforce to vocational education. And I can say I'm even more confident after this weekend's discussions that with the President's leadership and with the strong leadership in the Congress, we're going to keep delivering for the American people in 2018, and we're going to create a stronger and more prosperous America.
Thank you very much, Mike. Any questions for the group? Yes.
Mr. President, I didn't hear any mention here of welfare reform. Is that something that is still on the agenda for 2018?
We are looking at it. We're looking at aspects of it. It's a subject that's very dear to our heart. We'll try and do something in a bipartisan way. Otherwise, we'll be holding it for a little bit later. But we'll be looking to do that very much in a bipartisan way. We can. Yes.
Mr. President, you were talking about the policy issues that you all were focusing on the last few days here at Camp David, but this morning you were tweeting about your mental state. Why did you feel the need to tweet about that this morning?
Well, only because I went to the best colleges, or college. I went to I had a situation where I was a very excellent student, came out, made billions and billions of dollars, became one of the top business people, went to television, and for 10 years was a tremendous success, as you probably have heard. Ran for president one time and won. And then I hear this guy that doesn't know me at all. By the way, did not interview me he said he interviewed me for 3 hours in the White House. It didn't exist, okay? It's in his imagination. And what I was heartened by, because I talk about fake news and the fake news media, was the fact that so many of the people that I talk about in terms of fake news actually came to the defense of this great administration and even myself, because they know the author and they know he's a fraud. And when I saw some of the people say, and you look at some of his past books, he did a book on Rupert Murdoch. It was a terrible expose, and it was false. So much of it was false. I consider it a work of fiction, and I think it's a disgrace that somebody's able to do something like that. The libel laws are very weak in this country. If they were strong, it would be very helpful. You wouldn't have things like that happen, where you can say whatever comes to your head. But just so you know, I never interviewed with him in the White House at all. He was never in the Oval Office. We didn't have an interview. And I did a quick interview with him a long time ago having to do with an article. But I don't know this man. I guess Sloppy Steve brought him into the White House quite a bit, and it was one of those things. That's why Sloppy Steve is now looking for a job. Okay, who else do you have? Yes.
Follow-up. Well, Mr. President, the meetings now between South Korea and North Korea, the discussions.
Hope it works out.
I was going to ask, are you comfortable that this will remain just about the Olympics? Are you?
Well, I think so. I spoke with the president, as you know, with President Moon of South Korea. He thanked me very much for my tough stance. And, for 25 years, they haven't been using a tough stance. They've been giving everything. When you look at what Bill Clinton did, and you've seen the famous clip where Bill Clinton wants to give him everything, and where I said years ago with Russer on Meet the Press, many years ago, I talked, I don't think anything's changed. You have to have a certain attitude, and you have to be prepared to do certain things, and I'm totally prepared to do that. But President Moon called me, and we had a great discussion a couple of days ago, and he thanked me very much, and I hope it works out. I very much want to see it work out between the two countries. I'd like to see them getting involved in the Olympics, and maybe things go from there. So I'm behind that 100%. He actually thanked me. He said, and a lot of people have said, a lot of people have written that without my rhetoric and without my tough stance, and it's not just a stance. I mean, this is what has to be done, if it has to be done, that they wouldn't be talking about Olympics, that they wouldn't be talking right now.
That they're not also taking the conversation beyond the Olympics while he...
Well, I hope they do. I hope they do. I would love to see them take it beyond the Olympics. We have a very good relationship with South Korea. I would love to see it go far beyond the Olympics. Absolutely. And at the appropriate time, we'll get involved. But I like the idea if they're dealing on the Olympics, that should be between those two countries. Yes.
Mr. President, did you ask the White House counsel to ask Attorney General Sessions not to recuse himself from the Russian investigation?
Everything I've done is 100% proper. The story, by the way, in the Times was way off, or at least off. But everything that I've done is 100% proper. That's what I do, is I do things proper. And, I guess the collusion now is dead, because everyone found that after a year of study, there's been absolutely no collusion. There has been no collusion between us and the Russians. Now, there has been collusion between Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and the Russians. Unfortunately, you people don't cover that very much. But the only collusion is between Hillary and the Russians, and the DNC and the Russians, and one of those things. Okay, any other questions?
In what way was the New York Times story off?
You'll find out. But the story was off.
Do you stand by Jeff Sessions as your Attorney General?
Yes, sir.
And will Gary Cohn continue to remain in
I hope so. Where's Gary? Is he here? He was here. Gary, come here. Did you hear the question, Gary, in this beautiful hangar that's freezing?
I did not, sir.
They said, will Gary Cohn continue or remain in the administration? I said, I hope so. Now, if he leaves, I'm going to say, I'm very happy that he left, okay? All right? Come here, Gary. Come here. Are you happy, Gary? He just passed a very big bill. I think he's pretty happy.
Yes, I'm happy. How's that?
Come here. Gary, hopefully we'll be staying for a long time. Yes, ma'am.
Just to follow up on the conversations between North Korea and South Korea, are you willing to engage in phone talks with Kim Jong-un right now?
Sure. I always believe in talking.
Do you think
But
that
we
that
have a very firm stance. Look, our stance, you know what it is. We're very firm. But I would do that. No problem with that at all.
so no prerequisites to coming to the table and talking with him?
It's not what I said at all. Look, right now they're talking Olympics. It's a start. It's a big start. If I weren't involved, they wouldn't be talking about Olympics right now. They'd be doing no talking, or they would be much more serious. He knows I'm not messing around. I'm not messing around. Not even a little bit. Not even 1%. He understands that. At the same time, if we can come up with a very peaceful and very good solution, we're working on it with Rex, we're working on it with a lot of people. If something can happen and something can come out of those talks, that would be a great thing for all of humanity. That would be a great thing for the world. Very important. Okay?
President.
Yes, sir.
Do you plan on involving yourself in Republican primaries?
Yes, I'll be very much involved.
On the side of
In fact, that's
incumbents?
one of the reasons hard to believe my poll numbers have gone way up. You'll have to explain that to me someday. But I will tell you, they've been explaining it to me, but they want me to be involved, and we're going to be very involved. In fact, not only with the Senate, also with the House.
And protecting incumbents, so will you...
Protecting incumbents and whoever I have to protect.
you
Look,
back
we
challengers?
need more Republicans. We have to have more Republicans. With that being said, I think we're going to go bipartisan. I think we're going to have some really great bipartisan bills. But we need more Republicans so that we can really get the rest of the Make America Great Again agenda passed. And so I will be actually working for incumbents and anybody else that has my kind of thinking. And I think that's going to happen. We're going to make a lot of trips. We'll be very involved. I think you folks are going to be very happy because you're going to be doing a lot of traveling.
So that includes some challengers to incumbents, too?
I don't see it. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at this moment. No, I think they've sort of scattered. We had somebody that lost us, the state of Alabama, and I think, as far as I'm concerned, that was a shame that that was lost. It should never have been lost. And look, with it all being said, we have the right policy, we have the right everything. You still need a good candidate. If you don't have the good candidate, you're just not going to win. So we should have never lost Alabama. It shouldn't have happened. Okay, any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, can you lay out, I know that you guys released a very long list of requirements, things that you wanted to see on immigration tied to a DACA fix. But can you explain to us right now?
Well, I can just say some of the
what exactly
basics.
do you need?
I can say some of the basics. We want the wall. The wall's going to happen or we're not going to have DACA. We want to get rid of chain migration. Very important. And we want to get rid of the lottery system. In addition to that, we want some money for funding. We need some additional border security. These are great people, and we need some border security. We need ICE. But we want to make sure that in terms of what we want, and we want DACA to happen. Everybody, I think I can speak for everybody. We want John Cornyn from Texas. We all want DACA to happen. But we also want great security for our country. So important. We want to stop the drugs from flowing in. Very important. So we have to get rid of the visa lottery. You know, the lottery is a disaster. They give you people, in fact, as you know, the person on the West Side Highway that killed 8 people and so badly injured, legs and arms, so badly injured, many more, that he came in through the lottery system. And remember this, the lottery is just common sense. They're not sending us their finest, okay? When somebody gets picked in the lottery, we're not getting the best people. So we have to get rid of the lottery system. We have to get rid of chain migration. We have to have the wall.
Do you want the lottery and the chain migration aspects in that same piece of legislation?
I think it should be in the same legislation, yes. And I think, frankly, the Democrats feel strongly about it, too. I mean, Chuck Schumer is New York. He saw somebody that came in through the lottery system. He saw this man kill 8 people on the West Side Highway that he knows very well and he loves, like I do. I think he's okay with it. I really think we'll have a lot of Democrat support. I hope so. Okay? Yes,
Mr.
sir.
President, have there been any more efforts to get Mexico to pay for the wall?
Yeah, I believe that Mexico will pay for the wall. I have a very good relationship with Mexico. As you know, we're negotiating NAFTA. We'll see how that goes. Yes, but Mexico will pay. In some form, Mexico will pay for the wall.
I got time for one more question.
One more question.
Mr. President, if Robert Mueller asks you to come and speak with his committee personally, are you committed still to doing that? Do you believe that's
Yeah,
appropriate?
just so you understand. Just so you understand. There's been no collusion. There's been no crime. And in theory, everybody tells me I'm not under investigation. Maybe Hillary is, I don't know, but I'm not. But there's been no collusion. There's been no crime. But we have been very open. We could have done it 2 ways. We could have been very closed, and it would have taken years. But, you know, it's sort of like when you've done nothing wrong, let's be open and get it over with. Because, honestly, it's very, very bad for our country. It's making our country look foolish. And this is a country that I don't want looking foolish. And it's not going to look foolish as long as I'm here. So we've been very open, and we just want to get that over with. Okay, anybody else? I think we're set. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That was President Trump from Camp David speaking. We also heard Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence. You know, it's interesting. President Trump, I believe he's only done one official press conference during his presidency, but that was kind of like a press conference right there. I don't know if that was, it would have been much different if we actually had an official press conference. Maybe that would be that was a little shorter, but quite interesting. A lot of topics he talked about. He took a bunch of questions. We want to hear from you. This is the Right Side Broadcasting post show for President Trump's Camp David remarks. I am Steve Lookner. Write to me what you thought. I'm going to read your comments on the air. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Tell me what you thought about President Trump's remarks. Did you like any of them particularly? Anything you didn't like? Give me a shout. And also, thanks so much. A bunch of people donated during the broadcast. You know, we cover all of President Trump's events. We give you the full speeches. We don't sit here and judge and yell at you about President Trump. We just cover his full events and we let you hear him speak. We did that during the campaign when we were the only one showing the full rallies and showing you all the speeches and also showing the crowds. So we did that again today. Great job by Joe Seals, our CEO, getting this on the air. But thank you for donating and supporting Right Side. We can only be on the air because you guys donate, so we can only be on the air because you guys donate, and so we really appreciate your support. And I don't have the names in front of me of people who donated during the Camp David remarks. So thank you. But if you'd like to donate and support Right Side Broadcasting, you can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. There's a little $sign there, or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate. rsbn.tv/donate. We are viewer supported. It might seem like we have lots of money from the studio and stuff, but we don't. You guys, your donations are what keeps us on the air. So I want to get to your comments. Write to me. What'd you think about this Camp David remarks? It turned into like a press conference, and it wasn't supposed to be a press conference, but it turned into that. What'd you think about it? I have a bunch of notes here, a lot of things I want to go over that President Trump talked about, but I want to get to you guys first. Italiano says, proud of Trump. The boys behind him have a proud look on their faces. Proud of our country. Proud of Lookner. Great job. Thank you for writing in, Italiano, for Trump. I appreciate hearing your thoughts. Let's see what else here. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay on people writing in, so let me just see if I want to make... Barbara Bailey says, thank you for your live stream today about Trump and Camp David. Thank you, Barbara. Barbara, one of our moderators. Oh, thank you to our moderators in the chat room who always do such a great job moderating the chat. We appreciate it on both the website and on YouTube. And some of the noteworthy things I want to point out that President Trump talked about, a lot of noteworthy things, but he echoed a bunch of things he said in his tweets this morning. He sent, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I'm sure some of you saw it, but he sent out a bunch of tweets this morning. Let me get these up on the screen for you so you can see them. There were 5 of them this morning. Here we go. So 5 tweets this morning from the president. The first one, he said the African American unemployment rate fell to 6.8%, the lowest rate in 45 years. I am so happy about this news. And in Washington Post, of all places, headline states, Trump's first-year jobs numbers were very, very good. And he also tweeted out about Brian Ross. Brian Ross, the reporter who made a fraudulent live newscast about me that drove the stock market down 350 points, billions of dollars, was suspended for a month, but is now back at ABC News in a lower capacity. He is no longer allowed to report on Trump. Should have been fired. I don't think he mentioned either of those things during the press briefing, impromptu press conference. He did mention this, though. He said, so in this tweet from this morning, he said, now that Russian collusion after 1 year of intense study has proven to be a total hoax on the American public, the Democrats and their lapdogs, the fake news, mainstream news media, are taking out the old Ronald Reagan playbook and screaming mental stability and intelligence. And then he followed that by saying, actually, throughout my life, my 2 greatest assets have been my mental stability and being really smart. Crooked Hillary Clinton also played these cards very hard and, as everyone knows, went down in flames. I went from very successful businessman to top TV star. to President of the United States on my first try, I think that would qualify as not smart but genius, and a very stable genius at that. So President Trump said something similar during the press conference. He said, I went to the best colleges or college I went to. I had a situation where I was a very excellent student, came out, made billions of dollars, went to television, and for 10 years was a tremendous success. So he was firing back at those people who've been saying the last couple of days on TV and in the media that he's mentally unstable. And also, again, during the press conference, in addition to his tweet, said there was no collusion, something he's been saying pretty much his entire presidency. So what did you think about the press conference? Give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. And thank you, S. Blaster, for donating. S. Blaster made a donation. And S. Blaster made a couple of donations. Thank you, S. Blaster. Very much appreciate it. He says, great stream, great job. You sorry losers, stop leaving the stream. So I guess some people just watch the speech and not the post show. But thank you, S. Blaster. If you'd like to donate and support Right Side, go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ there, or go to rsbn.tv/donate. Joseph Riley says, he just nuked the coming attempt at using the 25th Amendment and shifted focus back to Hillary. Brilliant. Now, is the 25th Amendment the one about, like, the president being unfit? Let me look this up and just make sure. Yeah, that is the 25th Amendment. So you're saying, though, you think this argument, you think that what he said today prevents them from using the 25th Amendment. Now, anyone from using it to try to get rid of him as president. Now, maybe some people would agree with you, Joseph, but thank you for writing in. Nolan Neal says, President is a very stable genius. Jeff Berry writes in, it would appear that the establishment never-Trumpers have finally been brought to heel. President Trump is very much in charge. #MAGA. Hank Hill says, nice glasses, looking sharp today. Something a little different today. It's the weekend. Hank Hill says, Trump was well composed and on point. I thought he represented himself very well. Thank you, Hank. Ryan Lovesey says there's a lot of people in the YouTube chat saying no DACA. So President Trump did say today, he outlined what he wanted an immigration agreement to be, and he said he kind of wanted this all in the same legislation. He said he wanted we want the wall. So it sounded like the deal was this: we will enshrine, codify DACA in law. So we will have something in law to protect the dreamers. But at the same time, he's going to insist on exchange for that there's support for the wall, that there's money for the wall. And he said get rid of chain migration, where people who are immigrants are allowed to bring more immigrants in because they're family members. And he also said the diversity lottery is a disaster. So it sounded like he was proposing something like, we'll give you DACA, but you got to give us money for the wall, get rid of chain migration, and get rid of the diversity lottery. That's at least what he was saying today. And he said he wanted it all in the same legislation, which I don't know if that would be its own bill or that would be the bill, because right now, by the end of the month, there needs to be another spending bill passed, and the government shuts down. So I don't know if he's going to try to get all of that into the spending bill. Some people think that will take too long to get into the current spending bill, so maybe they'll do a short-term extension of the spending bill, the current one, and then they'll deal with this immigration in a more comprehensive, longer-term spending bill in the future. President Trump also talked about the author of the book Fire and Fury, as he's been doing, Michael Wolff. And, 13 hours ago, so I guess that was, late last night, he posted this. Michael Wolff is a total loser who made up stories in order to sell this really boring and untruthful book. He used sloppy Steve Bannon, who cried when he got fired and begged for his job. Now sloppy Steve has been dumped like a dog by almost everyone. Too bad. So that's another one of President Trump's recent tweets that he echoed in the news conference. He did say he was critical of Michael Wolff, and he also said Wolff did not interview me for 3 hours. It's in his imagination, and he claimed that Wolff was never in the Oval Office. And he said Michael Wolff never interviewed him in the White House and called him a fraud. We are taking your comments. What do you think about this impromptu, President Trump giving an impromptu news conference? I say impromptu because I don't believe it was announced he was giving a news conference. I just heard this in the press as he's going to give remarks at Camp David, and it turned into him taking questions, which was quite interesting. Once in a while this happens. I was wondering when he started taking questions, I was reminded of when he did remarks. He gave remarks about the economy shortly after Charlottesville, like a couple days after the Charlottesville rally and the violence there. And he was sort of a similar thing where I believe he had Steve Mnuchin with him. And he's like, okay, we'll take some questions on the economy. And then it turned into all questions about Charlottesville, where President Trump was having sort of an angry back and forth with the press. And I didn't know if that's what was going to happen today. Like he had said, we'll take some questions for you, and we're going to talk about what we've been talking about in terms of what's coming up in 2018. But I was like, wait a second, is this going to kind of be the kind of thing where they ask him questions and they ask him like, and maybe they ask him some nasty questions and it gets kind of nasty. But it was pretty, the questions seemed to be pretty not too nasty, and things didn't get too heated there in the back and forth. So it didn't happen like that. I didn't know what was going to happen when that happened, though. Hey, we got a donation from Whole New Strain. Gave a donation and said, RSBN, please join the _Donald on Reddit. Don't support Twatter. Thank you, Whole News Train, for the donation. Very nice of you. Let's get to some more of your messages here. Jeffrey Williams writes in, President Trump has stated many times he wants to do DACA. We know that what he wants in exchange, but I wonder what is he willing to give in exchange? Well, I think, Jeffrey, he would consider putting DACA into law in exchange. So if you legalize DACA, that's a step. So I believe the original DACA was an executive order. I'll call this up right now, by President Obama, and it wasn't part of the law. It was, and I'm looking it up right now. It was Barack Obama announced his intention, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so this is it was DACA allowing dreamers, roughly speaking, young people who had come to America as younger people and had been here since and hadn't committed crimes and stuff like that for a certain amount of time. It doesn't apply to people coming here now, but it applies to people who came here between certain years. That policy of allowing them to stay in the country and not kicking them out of the country and not enforcing immigration rules on them, it gave them renewable 2-year period of deferred action from deportation, and they would be eligible for a work permit. So this action by Obama was not a law. It was just an action that the Obama administration put into place. And the problem with that for dreamers, is that it left it open. Since it wasn't a law, a future president who didn't agree with it didn't have to abide by that policy. If it's a law, the president can't come in and just say, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I think what President Trump would say is, look, if we can put this into law and not just have it be the current president's policy, that protects these people forever. Because if it's a law, the next president can't just come in and change the policy. So I think the president would see it as a significant victory and a concession to people who support dreamers if this was made into a law. And so I think he would say that is the concession he's giving up. And in return for putting it into law, he would want things like the wall, an end to the diversity lottery, and an end to chain immigration. Is it chain migration or chain immigration? I'm not even remembering right now. Thank you for writing in, Jeffrey. Some more messages. William Heritage says, great programming. No one else has the coverage RSBN has. Like your approach presenting the news with insightful analysis. Thank you, William, very much. It's very nice of you to say. And if you like it, please consider donating, because we rely on your donations to stay on the air. We're not big. We don't have huge advertisers. We rely on viewer donations. If you want to donate, go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, and or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And something else your donations also will let us do, if it happens, is President Trump did mention during the remarks at Camp David, he was asked about the coming campaign and asked if he was going to still planning on going to campaign for people in the coming 2018 election year. So is he still going to be out on the campaign trail campaigning for Republican candidates? And he said an emphatic yes. And he said he was definitely planning on being out there. And I think he said something like, "We're making the plans right now for it, and you're going to wait and see all we're going to do." So it sounded like they were planning for him to make a lot of campaign stops, and that is certainly something that at Right Side we are committed to bringing you. And if he travels the country, we cover his rallies when he goes around the country. We give you full coverage. We show you the whole speech. We show you everyone talking before him. We show you people at the rallies. We interview people at the rallies for 3 or 4 hours beforehand. We talk to the Americans who go to the rallies and get their point of view, and we talk to the people after the rally in the crowd. We show you the crowd. We interview them. So if he does events like that, if he does those rally-style events for the campaign this year, we're committed to bringing you those too. But we have to pay to go there. So we have, they don't, no one buys us our transportation to go to these places and pays for our internet where we're at these places so we can bring you the rally. We have to pay ourselves. So your money, that's what allows us to go do that as well. And speaking of which, we just got a couple donations. I want to say a big thank you. Dirt Road Landing made a donation and said, "It is imperative that conservatives retain control of the Senate in order to continue the fast confirmation of constitutional judges." And the Senate right now, it's 51-49, so a lot of questions as to whether the Senate and the House, for that matter, but especially the Senate, might shift in the 2018 election. So big election year coming up. Thank you, Dirt Road Landing, for your donation. S. Blaster made another donation saying, "I really love them red-haired girls. I'm just another boy from Texas." I don't know what that refers to, S. Blaster, but we really thank you for your donations. Elizabeth Luker made a donation. Elizabeth says, "Last night I began research on the Pences, K and M. Has anyone on here researched this pedo link between them two? I researched for hours and physically got sick. Has anyone else seen this example? Tory Smith, help me debunk, please." I know nothing about this whatsoever. If you want to talk about this, you can talk to Elizabeth Luker in our chat room right now. I know nothing about this. But Elizabeth, you all are a longtime supporter of Right Side Broadcasting, and you watch us all the time, and we really appreciate your support. So thank you, Elizabeth. I have some more comments to get to you. Write to me at @Lookner on Twitter. Let me know what you thought of of President Trump's impromptu press briefing at Camp David. Obi-Wan Kafefe says, "Trump is looking more presidential daily." Pork Mohammed says, "If he lets the criminal DACA demons stay, we lose Texas. There will never be another Republican victory if he betrays us on DACA." So some of you do not want President Trump to give ground on DACA and allow basically the Dreamer policy, the DACA policy, to be codified and put into law. Mangold says, "Republicans looking much more unified now. Would love to see more of these mini pressers. I guess with Trump going out and stumping for House Senate seats, we'll see a lot more of these, injecting leadership, confidence, and patriotism back into the USA." So you liked, Mangold, one thing you liked is that the Republicans seemed unified today. We saw Paul Ryan there from the House, Speaker of the House. We saw Senate Majority Leader McConnell there, all presenting what seemed to be, at least for the day, a united front, saying they talked about what's coming in 2018 and they're excited about the legislative possibilities. Lisa H. says, "I was surprised how those questions were quite not as argumentative as they usually were. Was CNN there? LOL." It's a good question. I was wondering the same thing, Lisa. Why aren't the questions as argumentative today? Now, your theory is maybe different people were there, which could be true. I wonder if, look, it's very possible that different people were there today in the crowd than at the press briefing, because the people in the crowd today, I would think, would be the traveling press pool who travels with him. Those are different than the people who go to the White House briefing every day. The White House briefing's in D.C. So when President Trump is traveling, the traveling press pool, like people like Jennifer Jacobs from Bloomberg, she's in the traveling press pool, so she goes everywhere the president goes, usually. So she's not at the press briefing. briefing. She's wherever the president is. And I believe today, it's at Camp David. I would think that the traveling press pool would be there, and maybe those are the people who ask the questions and not the people who are usually in the briefings. Maybe that's a reason the questions were different. Maybe the fact that it was just a different kind of event, that meant the questions were different. Maybe because this was not a planned press conference, that had something to do with the questions being less argumentative than they are in the briefings. Don't know. It's a good question, Lisa. Garrett writes in, about mental capacity. At least Trump would never be drunk on TV like Don Lemon or stoned crazy like other CNN pothead anchors. Dingle writes in, President Trump puts on the serious show when he needs it. When he needs to, it was a good show. FYI to those who think Trump is going to excise/throw/round up 1 million DACA onto their butts. You say A's, I'll say butts. Back to foreign countries. They don't even know. They don't even know they are delusional. Trump isn't Hitler. So you do not think, Dingle, that President Trump would actually round up people who came here under the DACA policy and are still here under that policy and send them away from the country. Lady Maga says, I thought President Trump's remarks were excellent, but I'm not so hot on DACA. Many people don't want it and never did. No DACA, please. So we're hearing that from a bunch of our viewers who say they don't want DACA. Now, maybe this is something that President Trump thinks, that he might think I need to give up stuff to get stuff, and that it sounds like that's one of the things he's willing to give to Democrats that they want. I just noticed there's this big fold in my shirt. How terrible. Can I fix it? Oh, it wrecked the broadcast. Well, folks, my bad. I'll have to fix it after. That's going to... sorry that has wrecked the broadcast right there. Let's see here. Linda Belk says, the president was patient with the press when they asked very stupid and insulting questions. I was impressed. That's from our viewer, Linda Belk. If you have comments, write to me on Twitter, at Lookner on Twitter. Ma Deuce emailed me and said, I agree with subject line, DACA is un-American. And she says, I agree with Ann Coulter. DACA should be the first group expelled from the United States. Who stands in another man's house and makes demands? Many of these DACA have gone to college in our country to become immigration lawyers. They should be shut down for aiding and abetting a criminal. Call the White House next week and let them know how you feel about DACA. Immigration and lock her up were two huge reasons we elected DJT. So another person writing in and saying she does not want President Trump to give in on DACA. S. Blaster says, please fix the crease in your collar. I don't think I can right now. It's a very difficult crease. It's very odd. Look at this. Look, I'm trying to fix it. It like won't go. Oh, I might have gotten it. Oh, S. Blaster, you're going to be happy. I think I sort of got it here. There we go. Oh, S. Blaster, I'm glad you made me do that. Look, it's all better. Rooster Coburn says, what's your opinion on President Trump calling the mainstream media fools? He is right. Now, did he specifically say that today in the press conference? I can't remember. Well, look, real quick, I don't have to tell you guys, President Trump often has problems with the mainstream media. I've read some interesting comments, though, saying that President Trump, I've heard some people say President Trump, he'll be critical of the mainstream media, but he also gives them a lot of access behind the scenes. So, and he also calls the mainstream media a lot. I've heard people who report about this, and he'll call people like Maggie Haberman and talk to them. So, it's sort of like, he has a complex relationship with the press. I leave it to you to decide what that relationship is and what you think about it. But it's interesting. It's interesting to watch that dynamic play out during his administration. Benjamin Ellis says, Trump said there was no crime. That was a lie? ? Like, come on, he lied. So it sounds like you think President Trump lied about something. I'm not sure what you're saying he lied about, Benjamin Ellis. Feel free to write back and clarify. He said there was no collusion. But feel free to write back and clarify. Okay, let's see here. I'm getting to the messages here. Clinton Body Count writes in, DACA will bring more Democratic voters. People who came as kids and have not committed crimes and are not on government assistance should be allowed to stay, but their parents who broke the law should be allowed to leave. should have to leave. That's what you're saying. Now, just to be clear on this Clinton body count, and you might also know this, but just to be clear, DACA does not apply to new young people coming in. DACA applies to people, let me tell you exactly. To be eligible for DACA, here, I'm showing you. This is what, to be eligible for DACA, you had to have entered the United States before 16th birthday and before your 16th birthday and prior to 2007 June, be currently in school, a high school graduate, or be honorably discharged from the military, or be under the age of 31 by June 15, 2012, and have not been convicted of a felony, blah, 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 blah. So here's a summary of requirements. Came to the U.S. before 16th birthday, have lived continuously in the U.S. since 2007, June 15th, were under age 31 on June 15th, 2012, physically present. So you had to have come here before your 16th birthday and have come here prior to June 2007. So it does not apply to newer, younger people coming to the United States from outside countries, just to clarify. Okay, if you have let's see here. If you have other comments on what you thought about the press briefing, write to me on Twitter at Lookner at Lookner. Feel free to follow me if you'd like to. If you like breaking news, I post about breaking news all the time, even when we're not on the air. So you can follow me on Twitter at Lookner. Also, don't forget, subscribe to Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube so you get notified about all of our live videos. We do live breaking news videos all the time, even on weekends, as you see. But you got to hit the notifications bell when you subscribe to get notified. Also, you can follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting. And you can follow our CEO, Joe Seals, who's producing right now. Amazing. He's a CEO and he produces as well. You can follow him at Joe Seals, at Joe Seales. And thanks so much to our moderators who've been moderating today. Barbara Braley, Jan, Real Frank, JC. JC is moderating today. Welcome back, JC. And I think I said all the moderators who are there right now, and Common Sense and Glen O on our website. Thank you. S Blaster says, say my real name, and made another donation. And thank you, S Blaster, and said, say my real name, and in the future I won't refer to you as Sloppy Steve Lookner. Well, S Blaster, you have a little bit of a naughty name, so I can't really say it. S Blaster, if you give $10,000, I'll say your name on the air. How's that? That's my deal to you. For the good of the network, I'll do it. Adam Stevens writes in, the remark Trump made after the Mueller question was interesting, said Hillary Clinton could be being investigated by Mueller. Now, Adam, I have to be honest, I can't remember that remark. Now, when I was getting ready to get on the air here, unfortunately, my bad, I sort of got to this a little late today, so I was getting ready a little, kind of getting stuff ready to come on the air during the speech, during the remarks. So I heard most of the remarks, but I didn't hear like literally every word, and that I don't remember. Let me see if I can find it for you, but if I can't, I'll have something to, I want to say something about it anyway. Trump, Hillary, let's see. Let's see if it's posted anywhere. So I don't know, but at the same time, it did come out that she is actually, the Clinton Foundation is being investigated. Oh, you're saying said Hillary Clinton could be being investigated by Mueller. So I missed that part. If somebody remembers where he said that and has like a time code or something, please write to me and let me know. I'm happy to show it on the air. I don't recall him saying that. I might have missed that he said something like that. There was a story that came out in the media the last couple of days that the Clinton Foundation is being investigated by the FBI, which I'll give you a link to. That's here. Oops. That's here. And it says FBI launches new Clinton Foundation investigation. That's from The Hill, but a lot of different media had it. And the opening page is this, the Justice Department has launched a new inquiry into whether the Clinton Foundation engaged in any pay-to-play politics or any other illegal activities while Hillary Clinton was serving as Secretary of
Ex-FBI
State.
Director
oh my
James
gosh.
Comey's
No.
original statement closing
Auto
out the
video,
probe into
stop
Hillary
it.
Clinton's
Stop
use of a
it.
private
Stop
email
it.
server
Stop
was
it.
edited by
Why is
subordinates
it
to
doing
remove
this?
5 separate...
Every site has autoplay video. I don't want it. I don't want your autoplay video. So that is happening now. You can, if you Google FBI launch a new Clinton Foundation investigation, you'll find a bunch of articles about it. World According to S says, I won't ask you to say my name on the air. It's cool, LOL. Thank you, World According to S. I don't know if this is the same person or a different person. Ryan writes in, when you start calling a president mentally ill, you know you are losing. All right, a couple other quick things said in the briefing. He said the New York Times got it wrong on the Jeff Sessions story. If I'm remembering it right, the New York Times claimed President Trump had his lawyer go lobby Sessions to not recuse himself from the Russia investigation, and also had President Trump saying that he wanted Sessions to stick up for him. Let me get you the quote. I'm getting you the exact quote. Yeah, here's the story from the Times and what they said. They said they claimed in this story here on January 4th, they claimed President Trump gave firm instructions to the White House's top lawyers, stop the Attorney General Jeff Sessions from accusing himself from the Russia investigation. And then it says, Mr. McGahn was unsuccessful. Mr. Trump said he had expected his top law enforcement official to safeguard him the way he believed Robert F. Kennedy, as Attorney General, had done for his brother John F. Kennedy and Eric Holder had done for Barack Obama. Mr. Trump then said, where's my Roy Cohn? I think it's Cohn, not Cohn. Where's my Roy Cohn? He was referring, but I might be wrong. He was referring to his former personal lawyer and fixer who had been Senator Joseph McCarthy's top aide during the investigations into communist activity in the 1950s and died in 1986. Joe, I got your message. Sorry. Hey, folks, I heard there was a little black screen on our air, which once in a while YouTube messes up and puts a black screen on the air. So if you see a black screen, just know that it's going to be there for a few seconds and we're not going anywhere. So we apologize about that. I don't know why that's happening. We'll have to talk to YouTube once again because we've been complaining to them about it for about 9 months now, and somehow it never gets fixed. It's been a little bit better lately, but I don't know why it can't get completely fixed. Dee Dee made a nice comment. Dee Dee said, if you want breaking news without bias and negativity, you must watch Lookner. Yeah, we try to do things agenda-free here. We think there's enough people in the mainstream media telling you what to think, and yelling about lots of things and yelling at you and having an agenda coming into their coverage on either side. So we just want to do a broadcast where you don't have an agenda forced on you and you get the news and then you can decide what to think. That's what we try to do here. Mithra13 writes, why would we negotiate over a DACA deal to get sensible immigration policy we should already have? The Democrats would never negotiate for voter ID in all 50 states. That's how you know it's what we actually need. Okay, I'm going to make a last call for comments here. We're going to be on the air a few more minutes, so if you have any comments on the Camp David remarks in the impromptu press conference, give me a shout at Lookner on Twitter, at LOOKNER. Benjamin Ellis says, Mueller knows President Trump lied, and I'm not sure... wow, black screens. This is amazing. I'm just messaging our... I'm messaging our CEO who's producing. I'm not sure, Benjamin Ellis, what you're saying Mueller knows he lied about, but you're saying Mueller knows he lied. Oh, Dingle sent me a message and says a time code where he says he thinks this is the time code for where Trump refers to Hillary Clinton. Let's see if I can get that on the screen for you. Hang on, I'm calling this up here. The problem is you gave me a time code, Dingle, which is, you said 3406, but I'm not sure 3406 from what? Because if I go 3406 backwards, then I get, let's see here. Oh, I think I might be able to do this. 3406. So from that, it would be 4620 or something like that. Is this where he refers to Hillary? Hold on a second. I'm trying to find this. If I can't find it, I can't find it. Here's our broadcast. I'll get sound in a second, I think. Oh, I guess there's no sound on it. Why not? Volume? Anyone? Nope. Well, that's not working. I'll have to figure that out later. For some reason, I'm not getting volume on that. Oh, I got it. I figured it out. Let's try this again. Okay. So you said 3406. So let's see if I can find this. Here we go.
Does it not know me? Doesn't know me at all. Know me at all. By the way, did not interview me for he said he interviewed me for 3 hours in the White House. It didn't exist, okay? It's in his imagination. And what I was heartened by, because I talk about fake news and the fake news media, was the fact that so many of the people that I talk about in terms of fake news actually came to the defense of this great administration and even myself because they know the author and they know he's a fraud. And when I saw some of the people say, and you look at some of his past books, he did a book on Rupert Murdoch. It was a terrible expose, and it was false. So much of it was false. I consider it a work of fiction. And I think it's a disgrace that somebody's able to have something, do something like that. The libel laws are very weak in this country. If they were strong, it would be very helpful. You wouldn't have things like that happen where you can say whatever comes to your head. But just so you know, I never interviewed with him in the White House at all. He was never in the Oval Office. We didn't have an interview. And I did a quick interview with him a long time ago having to do with an article. But I don't know this man. I guess Sloppy Steve brought him into the White House quite a bit, and it was one of those things. That's why Sloppy Steve is now looking for a job.
So that wasn't the Hillary part of the. Sorry, I can't find the Hillary part of the broadcast of the remarks, but that was his comments on the author of the Fire and Fury, Michael Wolff. All right. Let's see here. Is this where he... What was this? Oh, thank you, Joe. You screen captured that black screen. Thank you. Okay, I think at this point we're going to wrap up this stream. I've gotten to your messages. Oh, wait, we might have got one more message here. Matt Breyer says, your live shows have gotten a lot better since I last watched during the 2017 campaign. Maybe you mean the 2016 campaign. Really enjoying this. Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Matt. I'm writing back thank you right now. Thanks, Matt, for saying that. Okay, we're going to wrap this up now. We appreciate you guys joining us for our coverage of President Trump's remarks and impromptu press conference at Camp David. If there's breaking news over the weekend, we'll definitely come on the air and cover it for you. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the notifications bell. Click the notifications bell when you subscribe so you get notified when we're on the air. Thanks to those who donated to Right Side Broadcasting. You guys make it possible for us to do these broadcasts. We are a viewer-supported network. So if you like our broadcast, us. If you like having an alternative to the mainstream media, please consider donating. Even small donations really help us out. You can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. There's a little gray $sign there. You can click on that or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. You can even get free Right Side stuff like this Right Side mug in exchange for making a monthly donation. You can find out about how that works at rsbn.tv/donate. Thank you to our moderators, Barbara Braley, Real Frank, JC, Jan. Who else is there or was there? If I can remember all of you. I'm not going to be able to. It's so sad. I know I missed somebody, but I can't remember now. And I'm looking, but somebody who was there before. Common Sense and Gleno on the website. And all the other moderators who were there, thank you. Thank you to everybody who wrote in and sent me comments to read. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for watching the broadcast. We love when you watch our broadcast. We love to do this programming for you. Thank you to Joe Seals, for the CEO of Right Side, for creating Right Side, but also for producing today. And thanks to everybody in the chat room. A lot of people saying thanks. Thank you. Let's see. Will Redding and Jasmine Guthrie. And by the way, if you want to see the remarks again, feel free. Somebody just asked, hey, can you play that again? We're on YouTube. You can just watch the whole thing again as many times as you want. So just go to YouTube, Right Side Broadcasting. You can play this broadcast as many times as you want and watch the president's speech over and over again, or his remarks over and over again. Thank you, DM. Thank you, Patty Pacana, Angel Dolly, Light Switch, Elysia. Oh, and also, Joe says, the remarks are, what Joe already did is Joe already made a video of just President Trump's remarks, and that's already posted on our website. So you can already go on the YouTube channel. So you can already right now go to our YouTube channel. It's up there. You can see President Trump's remarks. Joe has already posted that. Nice job, Joe. Thank you, Christine Bestjen. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Jasmine. Jennifer Madison, thanks. One Shootist, thanks. Beamer Boy. Whiskey Bay. Angel Dolly. Angel liked our New Year's broadcast. Orbit, thank you. Relits Gaming, thank you. And everyone else there. German Girl. Alex H. Thanks, everybody, for watching. All right, we'll be back later this weekend if there's more breaking news. But for now, thanks so much for joining us for our coverage. Apologies. Look at this. Apologies that YouTube is sticking black screens on our video. We're going to have to contact YouTube about this. But thank you for watching our coverage. We hope you have a great weekend. And we hope to see you soon. But for now, I am Steve Lookner. Follow me on Twitter at Lookner, at LOOKNER. Our CEO, Joe Seals, at Joe Seals, SEALES. But for all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting, I'm Steve Lookner. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And we will see you soon.